inspiration behind killing it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's to some degree, it's that it's a real thing that's happening and is like wild. And they would talk to people about it after reading articles, starting a decade ago, that Florida was having this problem with pythons and then holding these state-sponsored contests to see who could, eliminate the most pythons in the Everglades. And I thought it was shocking when I read about it, and you tell people and they were shocked. Everyone was always interested. So sort of stuck in my mind as just a really vivid and bizarre like world for a show.
The series tackles timely themes of race, capitalism with humor. Dan, how are you both able to not only strike that balance, but also perfect it?
Oh, that's very nice of you to say. I don't know. It's a hard.
No, we perfected it. He's right.
How? I guess God-given talent. No, we spend a lot of time talking about all of these ideas. There's a lot of work behind it. We have a really talented set of writers that we work with, and so I think that all of these ideas and the execs that we deal with at Peacock and at the studio are all really smart. And so I think the product you're seeing on the screen, the end result, not the product, but the end result is something that we've all really worked very hard on and really thought about a lot. Unless you don't like it, in which case that was just an accident that weirdly happened and it was not purposeful.
But yeah, I'd say to that end, there's a lot of trial and error too. You write things when you're mixing and matching tones like this and pushing, into weird territory. You have to be, we're creatively free, and we were with the staff to sort of like say, like, let's try stuff and we'll write stuff and then we'll hear it at a table read and be like, okay, that was too far. That's either too dramatic and it's feeling a little heavy, or that bit of comedy feels like odd in this moment, and you pull back. And then sometimes you shoot stuff and you try stuff on set and it feels wrong and you pull back, or as you're editing, it's constantly evolving and changing and there is no perfecting it. You're just sort of like honing in on what seems to work for people, but you're never, there are no secrets. Sometimes it's just like see it and see how it feels.
Luke, why do you think the comedy genre is a perfect medium for us to start these conversations?
I mean, honestly, it's because I think they're really interesting topics. As you say, it's about class, and it's about capitalism, it's about race, it's about a lot about people's struggle, but like also nobody at the end of the day wants to come home and watch a TV show where people just struggle and are sad, and so the question for us is like, how do you make a show about big weighty themes that maybe has interesting things to say, that maybe tackles relatable issues about hardship in the world, but also isn't a miserable slog that nobody actually wants to sit and devote their time to? And to me, the answer is comedy. You add jokes, and you make it first and foremost something that people will enjoy enough that they'll commit, 10 hours of their time to watching, or 5 hours, whatever it is, the season.
For the both of you, as you were writing these characters, did you have these particular actors in mind? What was that casting process like?
Well, Craig, Craig was there from day one, from before the original idea. The very start of the whole process was that we had worked with Craig at Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he really wanted to continue working with us, and we with him. And so we had him right from the start. And then we had written, now I'm forgetting the order of events, but most of them had been cast in some capacity by the time we had written how many episodes?
Somewhere. So we wrote a bunch of episodes without everyone cast, but then you go back and change.
Yeah, you go back. It's always a honing.
Claudia,
process.
For instance, I will say, like, when we wrote that character,
she was not
Australian. And then as we were thinking about it, I've known Claudia. I loved her on the show Love. She's really funny. And from the beginning, I was sort of like, oh, Claudia O'Doherty would be perfect in this. We need to find an American version of Claudia O'Doherty, because it's like, she's such a specific thing. And we were really struggling with that. And then at some point we were like, well, maybe we should just make the character Australian and use Claudia, which is the best thing for it. But that required us to then go back and rewrite, rewrite certain things, because we didn't want to just randomly drop an Australian in, nor did we want to force Claudia into doing a what I'm sure would have been a totally passable but probably ridiculous American accent. But a lot of it is you cast the people, and then I think you'll see as the season goes on and we get better at writing the characters as we got to know the actors better. I think a real thing that's a real strength of ours as writers, and is to say, you don't cast people and try to force them to become the characters you've written. You cast people and then you change your characters so it fits the people you've cast.